On today's show, we'll look at the number of intriguing storylines heading into tonight's game for the Ottawa Senators against the Toronto Maple Leafs.
And we continue with our organizational value rankings. We're in the top 5.
This is Yakemchuk, and you're listening to the Locked On Senators podcast.
Your Locked On Senators, your daily podcast on the Ottawa Senators. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome. You are locked on to the Ottawa Senators, the only daily podcast covering the Sens. On the outskirts of enemy territory, I'm Ross Levitan, alongside Brandon Piller up in the Blue Mountains. Today is Tuesday, September 23rd, and Pilsy, my dreams have come true. Not only are we going to get the first look at Carter Yakemchuk this season, but he will be paired alongside Jake Sanderson.
There we go, Travis Green, trying to have some fun with it, not just going with the same old, because Artem Zub is playing in this game, so it would not have been surprising at all to see a Sanderson-Zub pairing, but this could be the number one pairing in the future. Now, let's calm down. I don't know if it's going to be the number one pairing of the present right now, or even at any point this season, this regular season, I should say. Because the preseason, Travis Green is saying, let's have some fun. And this makes this game must watch, in my opinion.
The two highest drafted players on the blue line in the Senators organization, 5th overall Jake Sanderson and 7th overall Carter Yakemchuk. Yak's already got great memories in Scotiabank Library. He scored the overtime winner last year, dangling through Jake McCabe and Mitch Marner and ending off that game 6-5, where Ottawa, much like this game, will be playing quite a few depth players, and the Toronto Maple Leafs will have basically their NHL squad, as we always see in preseason, where you keep on your stars at home and get that cooking early on. So it's going to be a tough matchup tonight for the Senators, and there are a number of players who are going to be playing in both games. We'll get a little more into Carter Yakemchuk's storyline in a little bit, but the lines have just been released on social media. The team is skating in Ottawa before heading down the 401 to take on the Toronto Maple Leafs. We're going to get our first look at Dylan Cozens this preseason, centering Arthur Kaliyev and Fabian Zetterlund. Then it'll be Shane Pinto between Nick Cousins and Michael Amadio. The third line will feature Stephen Halliday with Ole Lycksell and Tyler Boucher. And the fourth line, Garrett Pilon with Xavier Bourgault and Hayden Hodgson. On the back end, we already touched on Jake Sanderson with Carter Yakemchuk. Tomas Hamara is going to get a look next to Artem Zub. And then it will be Donovan Sebrango with Nick Matinpalo. Levi Merrilainen, Jackson Parsons, and Hunter Shepard all took part in the morning skate, so we'll have to await further clarification on who will back up. I'm going to go out on a limb and say that Levi Merrilainen's first opportunity this preseason will be up against an NHL-heavy Toronto Maple Leaf squad. Outside of that top pair on the blue line, what else stands out to you in tonight's lineup?
Well, do we want to get into the reason why on YouTube we've highlighted all the players in yellow, or do you want me to go a different route here?
Yeah, well, they're playing for the second straight game, so all eyes will be on those players. Clearly, they want a deeper look.
Yeah, so the players that are playing in their second game, 2 of 2 so far in the preseason, Arthur Kaliyev, Nick Cousins, Ole Lycksell, Donovan Sebrango, and Nicholas Matinpalo. Now, if you put those names together, where is the pattern? Where's the trend? Well, it would appear that there's 2 spots available on the NHL roster, the fourth line left wing, or I suppose possibly a right wing spot as well, and a bottom pair defense spot. So these are the guys, Kaliyev, Cousins, Lycksell, they're fighting for that fourth line spot. And then Sebrango and Matinpalo, they're fighting for that third defensive pair spot. So that's the reason why they're all getting another look here. And if you're Arthur Kaliyev and Ole Lycksell, you got to feel pretty good about yourself. Both of them with a goal in last game. Nick Cousins did not score. And then Sebrango and Matinpalo, they're going to be trying to show that they're the ones worthy of having that spot. Matinpalo, I would say, certainly has the edge on Sebrango, playing a lot more NHL games, an older player as well. So Sebrango's going to have to show that he's worthy of leapfrogging him. Although, Ross, it does make me concerned that possibly the Tyler Kleven injury could be I don't want to say more serious than we thought because we didn't really get an idea of how serious it could be, but it's not nothing, and they don't expect Tyler Kleven to be back at least within the next week or so.
The Senators morning skate is just wrapping up right now, so we'll see if Travis Green is asked and if he has an answer on the status of Tyler Kleven. But that was my first thought when I saw Sabrango in there. I was like, oh, they really want to see if he could be potentially a third pair left defenseman on opening night if Tyler Kleven is not good to go. You could see a world where that third pair is Sabrango, Matt, and Paolo if Nick Jensen is also still ailing from that hip surgery that, by all accounts, he's much further along than you would have thought at this point. Nick Cousins being with Pinto and Amadio, to me, it makes sense. You put the veteran guy kind of in a best position that he could end up playing in the lineup. But with Arthur Kaliev, if he's going to play to be effective, I don't think 8 minutes a night could be that. So to me, that's interesting as well. Like, he played the first game getting kind of like an up and down look. He was on the power play and was obviously paired with Tim Stützle before that opening night where they went back, of course, to Stützle, Tkachuk, and Giroux. But for me, that line, it's like there's not going to be enough pucks on the ice to shoot with Kaliev and Zetterlund on each wing. And we know that Dylan Cousins is a shoot-first centerman as well sometimes. So that's going to be a curious line for me to watch. But if we're doing a locked-on player, I mean, it has to be Carter Yakemchuk. We teased that we'd go back to that. What are your expectations, Pillsy, for Carter Yakemchuk in his first game this preseason?
I mean, number one, foremost, stay healthy. That's the number one expectation. We do not want to see another defenseman go down here. But I'd like to see him get a point tonight, whether it's a goal and assist. But I've got to guess he's going to be a part of one of the power play units. Sanderson likely going to be quarterbacking that first power play unit, and hopefully Yakemchuk gets the opportunity on the second unit. And if he could produce another highlight reel goal up against the Toronto Maple Leafs at Scotiabank Arena, that would be awesome too. But I want to temper my expectations just so I can be excited and Carter Yakemchuk can exceed my expectations rather than disappoint me. I don't know if that's a good strategy or not.
Well, I'm going to take my fan glasses off for this one. I'll put my junior advisor of hockey operations hat on. And I'll say I want to see him steady defensively. Like we keep alluding to, this is going to be a top NHL style matchup to go up against. So don't get turned around at the defensive blue line. Don't throw any pizzas. Be strong in front of the net. Make smart outlet passes. Do the little things that I'm sure the Sens management team is watching for to see how ready Carter Yakemchuk is.
I'll almost play devil's advocate on that one, Ross. When you've got Jake Sanderson as your partner, why not take a couple risks? Why not to try to show off that offensive ability you have? Why not try to make a big open ice hit? Because you like, if anyone's gonna mop up a mistake you have, it's Jake Sanderson, right? So I almost think maybe he'll have the opposite approach. So we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, I'm so excited to watch this. This is making it a must-watch game on a dime, just like that. But there's also this fourth line storyline too, because like those guys they brought in were for this exact reason. You have to push Nick Cousins to be an everyday NHLer. Nothing's given, everything is earned, and we'll see how the Senators are able to go up against the tough opponent that they have tonight before going to Quebec City. This is the last game before Quebec City, and we said yesterday on the show, I would expect some cuts after tonight's game. So as interesting as it is for the guys who are playing in multiple games, I think it's also noteworthy the guys who aren't getting any games, and we'll tell you who they are after the break. You're listening to Locked On Senators, your team every day.
Today's episode is brought to you by our friends over at FanDuel. The NFL season is here, and FanDuel is making sure you're ready for kickoff with a can't-miss offer. If you haven't joined, good news. Right now is a great time for new customers because you can bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. I love FanDuel. Ross loves FanDuel, and you should too because it fits however you like to bet. Player props, they got them. Same game parlays. You can set up so many different combos in your parlays, or If you're watching the game and you got a hunch how the game's going to go, jump in live as the action unfolds. It makes every game more exciting, whether you're watching your favorite team, Ross's Bears, or my Bengals, or you're just keeping an eye on your fantasy lineup. It's quick, easy, and the best way to add a little more energy to your Thursdays, Sundays, and Mondays. So, are you ready to play? Download the FanDuel app now by visiting FanDuel.com to get started. That's FanDuel.com to place your first $5 bet.
Today's episode is also brought to you by the Glebe Central Pub. All roads lead to the Glebe Central Pub in the heart of the Glebe at 779 Bank Street. It's open till 2 a.m. every day. It's a cozy atmosphere that has great service, delicious food and drinks, and you can enjoy it your way with friends, colleagues, families. Everybody is welcome at the Glebe Central Pub. They've also got great activations almost every night of the week. You can start your week with wing night every Monday, trivia night on Tuesday, open mic night on Wednesday. Whether you want to sing, sit back and listen, whatever your way is, that's the proper way. Thursdays are all about cheap tacos. And of course, Saturday night, it's all right for fighting, but not at the Glebe Central Pub. They know that you want to sit back and listen to some live music. No cover ever. Go and enjoy at the Glebe Central Pub. The tickets for the Senator Shuttle will be coming soon. You can get your tickets online at glebecentralpub.com. Just click the send/event bus and you can go all the way to and from the CTC. Sue gets you there in perfect timing and they bring you back to the pub right afterwards, all for $18. So head to the place where the vibes are free. It is the Glebe Central Pub, 779 Bank Street, and let them know that Locked On Senators sent you. All right, Pilsy, it is a game day tonight. The Ottawa Senators are in Toronto to take on the Maple Leafs. It is a 7 o'clock puck drop, and it will be available to watch on TSN, so you can find that wherever you watch your Senators hockey. We talk about the players that are in the lineup. We want to hear from you. Who's your locked on player to watch? And if it's Carter Yakemchuk, yeah, same, but give us another one. Pilsy, I'm going to go out and say Ole Lixell. I was impressed with his performance around the net and just kind of in transition a little bit more than Kaliev. I know Kaliev's the shooter, but I think Lixell brings a little bit more of an all-around game. So I'm sure his eyes lit up when he got to be in this lineup again today. So I'll be keeping an extra eye on Ole Lixell.
All right, I like it. I'm going to go a little off the board here, Ross. I'll go with Michael Amadio. I know he's one of those guys that obviously he's going to make the NHL roster, but we've had multiple discussions about it, Ross. His spot on that third line isn't necessarily guaranteed, and he could end up being that fourth line right winger. However, tonight, he's partnered with Shane Pinto as his centerman. This is a chance to prove to Travis Green, hey, that checking line, that defensive shutdown line, that's important. You're going to need that in games up against other teams' top opponents. The Maple Leafs are putting out their best lines, and I'm going to go out on a limb and guess that Shane Pinto and Michael Amadio and Nick Cousins are going to be the opponents for some of those best offensive lines on the Leafs. So Michael Amadio's got to show he's still got that shutdown potential and that Travis Green needs to keep him on the checking line. And I want to see if Michael Amadio gets some penalty killing time. I've been the cheerleader for him being a key penalty killer this season after barely playing any time on the PK at all last season, which in hindsight baffles me. He's the perfect type of guy to be on the penalty kill. So I'm going to be locked on. It's been a while since we've done this, Ross. I almost said looking out for. No, wrong word. Locked on to Michael Amadio.
I'm surprised you didn't go with Fabian Zetterlund.
Yeah, I mean, I think I would be more interested in Zetterlund if he was on the left side, just because then he gets to play that shooter role. But I will be keeping an eye on him. But I think the Michael Amadio storyline is a little bit more interesting for me tonight.
Yeah, because Zetterlund's playing the right wing, though, that's kind of, hey, how do you look there? Because there could be a job open on the top line at right wing with Stützle and Tkachuk.
Well, I'm less inclined to believe that. With Giroux being put there last game, it really makes me think that Travis Green is at least going to start with that as his top line.
Yeah. So the players that have not played in any preseason games so far, Lars Eller and Nick Jensen, no surprise there. Both players are recovering from injuries. It's a minor procedure, they're calling it, for Lars Eller. He is skating with the group in practice, but obviously has not partaken in a game yet. It's an abdominal issue that he got cleaned up. And of course, Nick Jensen still coming back from that hip ailment. Luke Ellenis, the only junior player left in camp. He'll be with the Kitchener Rangers this year, but he's still up with the big club. Other players who are not getting an opportunity in the first two games, I think the biggest name, maybe the most surprising to me, is Jorian Donovan. He's yet to appear in a game. Jabril Toure, Cam Crotty, and Matthew Andonovski on defense. And then up front, it's Wyatt Bongiovanni, Philip Daou, Jake Chason, Jamison Reese, Kian Washkarak, and Landon Hookey. Those last players I mentioned, 4 of the 6 forwards that have not appeared are all on PTO. So I think that's less surprising. Are you at all kind of raised eyebrow at the fact that Jorian Donovan hasn't been able to get in here, and you've had 2 games in a row of Donovan Sabrango in what would have been his spot on the left side?
Yeah, a little bit, but I certainly think Sabrango has the edge on him to grab an NHL spot out of camp. So not totally surprised. I fully expect Donovan to get at least 1 game in here, so I'm sure that'll come. And then I was thinking, Ross, I was a little disappointed Jabril Toure hasn't got in a game, but I like the idea of letting him play in Quebec City and up against the Habs, right? And maybe that's the same kind of thinking for Philippe Daou is get the French guys up against Habs in Quebec and Quebec City.
Okay, so you think the Philip Daou is gonna last that long? Because we think they're gonna break them up here after tonight's game.
Yeah, I mean, that's fair. So I'll say Toure will definitely get a game.
I think Toure should get a game, but I think Jorian Donovan should get a game too. Those are the 2 players who I think of all the players that have not played. Cam Crotty as well, but he was kind of out of the group, then back in the group. So I don't know if he's dealing with anything. It hasn't been announced publicly yet, but those would be the 3 players, all defensemen, funny enough, that have not played that we're kind of like, that's interesting. We'll see if they get their opportunity. But we're going to get an opportunity to watch Sens Hockey Night. We're fired up for that. You can keep an eye on our socials after the game. We'll have a quick 1-minute breakdown and then have a full discussion about it on tomorrow's Locked On Senators. We also have a Sens Central Citizen for you tomorrow, and we're fired up to bring you that international Sens fan. We love chatting with people all across the world and their stories about how they became Ottawa Senators fans. As we continue our organizational value rankings, we are going to finish them tomorrow, which is wild. It feels like we've been doing them every day for a month, and then we'll get back to more regularly scheduled programming, but it is one of my favorite parts of the calendar, getting set up with these players, how we expect them to look throughout the season. We will be posting the entirety of our discussion on the OVRs on the weekend. So stay tuned for that on YouTube. And we always have people asking how they can support the show even more. Well, if you watched every day, appreciate you, all the everydayers out there, but just put this on in the background and let it play. All 5 hours of it. Just let it play and hit that like button and leave a comment below.
Yeah, why not? 5 stars on Spotify and Apple also go a long way. And if you just want a quick one, a quick like on YouTube videos, or what our good friend Eric does on YouTube videos, just a solid comment every time, and maybe you can come up with your own fun little comment to drop every time. Just a quick, let us know you're here. Let us know you're giving us a little bit of support. Before we move on to the organizational value rankings, Ross, I did want to also update. Nick Jensen is back skating at practice again. So it's at least good to see that he's skating and he's on the ice. It doesn't really seem like he's taking part in like the drills and any lineup rushes or anything. But for a guy that had hip issues in the offseason, it's good that he's at least able to skate consistently.
Yeah, exactly. And this guy is made of metal at this point. Like he's a robot. The fact that he's back this quickly at that age is remarkable. So credit to him. Talk about setting the tone. And tomorrow the Senators are going to drop a behind the scenes video from the start of training camp where it's titled "The Fabric of an Ottawa Senator." And I'd imagine that Steve Staios can point to Nick Jensen and say, the way this guy battles, that's what we want our players to be.
Yeah, definitely. But again, I will preach. I would like for them to wait until Nick Jensen is healthy, because near the end of the season, it was clear he was not 100% healthy. And don't get this twisted. I'm not putting that as a knock on Nick Jensen. I'd like to echo what Ross was saying. He battled through and he did everything he can to try to be as healthy as possible to play lots of games when you thought he wasn't going to be able to play. Great resilience there. But I think at this point in the season, let's make sure he's fully healthy. And the Ottawa Senators have some defensive depth now that I don't think playing Nick Jensen at 70, 75% health is worth it for him and the team, as opposed to letting him get fully healthy and bringing him back then.
You can find up-to-the-minute information on tonight's game on Twitter at Sens Central. On the other side, it is our organizational value rankings. Top five. That's next. You're listening to Locked On Senators, your team every day.
Today's episode is brought to you by our friends over at Monarch Money. Let's be honest, guys, most people can't name all of their financial accounts or even what they're worth, whether it's 401k, retirement savings, properties, or investments. And when you don't have the full picture, you can end up leaving money on the table. Don't do that. That's why there's Monarch Money. It's an all-in-one personal finance tool that brings your entire financial life together in one clean, easy-to-use interface on your laptop or on your phone. Let Monarch do the heavy lifting for you. You can link all your accounts in minutes, see clear data visuals, get smart categorization of your spending, and finally feel in control of your money without ever touching a spreadsheet. Nobody is proficient in Excel or spreadsheets. Let's be real. Do you have subscriptions that you forgot you're paying for? It happens. You can link all your accounts to Monarch and immediately spot subscriptions you aren't even using, cancel those, and save money every single month. Monarch also makes it simple to review your finances with your partner. You can both see budgets, goals, and spending activity in one place. So in this economy, don't let financial opportunities slip through the cracks. Use code LOCKEDONNHL at monarchmoney.com in your browser for half off your first year. That's 50% off your first year at monarchmoney.com with code LOCKEDONNHL.
All right, Pillsy, it's a game day, our first game day preview here on Locked On Senators for the 2025-26 NHL season, and we are fired up to get in to what happens tonight. A rematch of last game that fell the Leafs' way, despite it being the shoe on the other foot. The game was in Ottawa. Senators had a lot of their top players in the lineup, so can they punch back in the heart of enemy territory? We are only 16 days away from the Senators' season opener in Tampa, October 9th. The Senators taking on the Lightning. Should be a fantastic season. We hope you join us every step of the way. If you're a hockey pool guy, make sure to subscribe to our Patreon. We're going to do our hockey pool there as we've done the last couple of years. A lot of fun, great community. So go check that out on Patreon. And I'm already doing my studying. It feels like there's a lot of movement this offseason. Everyone said, it was an underwhelming offseason. I'm looking at rosters. I'm like, wait, that guy signed there? This guy signed where? And even just like former Senators, they're scattered all over the place, Pilsy.
Yeah, and a big one this year, Ross, that I would say is more important than off-season additions and subtractions. I think the champions of fantasy hockey this year are going to be the people that properly value rookies and young sophomore players. I think that's going to be the key this year is, where are you getting those young guys that are ready to take a next step in an elevated role, that are now going from the bottom six to a top six, or now getting power play time with the big boys? I think that's where the winners are really going to find value.
Cannot wait for the hockey season to fully get underway. Sens hockey's back, don't get me wrong. But when the real thing
At number
begins,
5, Sens hockey is back? Or is this just you echoing previous Sens hockey is back?
Yes, I'm just reminding the people
Got it.
that Sens hockey is back. Our organizational value rankings are back, and we are up to number 5. And no surprise here, coming in at 5th place, straight Batherson. 2 years left on that contract that pays him under $5 million, just barely. But what a season it was for Drake Batherson. And I think to begin this conversation, the way he's been able to, ever since that goofball Aaron Dell took him out with a high ankle sprain 4 seasons ago, he hasn't missed a game. 3 straight 82-game seasons, and last season was a solid one for Drake, especially offensively. 26 goals and 68 points.
Yep, number 5 is the highest we've had Drake Batherson in our organizational value rankings for the now 6th year that we've been doing it, and he's earned it. I mean, I'm sure Drake Batherson has been really working to be like, I got to get better than 6th on the Locked On Senators podcast organizational value rankings. Congrats, Drake. You did it. Number 5. Yep. And 82 games, 26 goals, 42 assists for 68 points, a -930 PIMS. I know there's highs and lows to Drake Batherson's game. I feel like when he's on, he's getting multiple points a night. He looks good. He's a dual threat, a passer, shooter. He's got that size. And the lows can be low as well. Obviously, the playoffs, not his best showing. A couple spots where you'd really like for him to have better decision making, we'll call it, in a couple different areas. But overall, you cannot overlook how good Drake Batherson is. I mean, 68 points in 82 games on this contract is incredible. He's a great top 6 player. It'll be interesting to see where he ends up playing on what line this year. But Ross, I'll hand it over to you because I know you're more confident in Drake Batherson, and correct me if I'm wrong, probably than you've ever been.
Yeah, well, last season I was pretty confident in him because I had in our hot take episode that he was going to be a point per game player. He has not gotten there yet, but I might just leave that in this year. I do see 82 plus point upside for Drake Batherson. This will be the last year he has the opportunity to do 82. It'll have to be 84 points for a point per game after that when the NHL adds 2 extra ones. But I just see so much talent, so much patience. Like, how many goals has Drake Batherson scored where he hangs on, and then makes the right decision? We know that he's one of the most dialed in players on the power play. He does a lot of his damage with the extra man. But what happened at 5-on-5 when Dylan Cousins came in cannot be understated. Those two need to start the season together. 19 points in 21 games to end the regular season for Drake Batherson, including 10 goals in those 21 games. The Senators went 14-5-2, and that was a big part of it, with David Perron needing some credit as well. He did a lot of the dirty work on that line. But when Drake's on, he is a hell of a player. He's a disher. He can shoot the puck too. I'd actually like to see him shoot it even more this season. Would be kind of a step in the right direction for me. He's got a great shooting percentage. He's averaging over the last 2 seasons a goal on every 14 goals on every 100 shots. So that's a real nice percentage. I'd just like to see it enhance a little bit. Like last season, he had 192 shots. The year before, he had 196. Pretty similar, right? Well, that first season that we alluded to where he played 82 games, he had 249. So I'd like to see him back up over 225 shots. And I see 30 goal, 52 assists. Let's get it right to 82 points. 30 goals, 52 assists. That's my projection. That's my hope. That's my belief in Drake Batherson. The guy's still only 27 years old. Feels like he's been playing forever. Eh? This is his 8th season, year 8 for Drake Batherson. Now, year 1 and 2 were call-ups where he played 20 and 23 games respectively. But, man, I've always been a big fan of this guy's game, going back to our time watching him in Belleville when we were covering the B-Sens, and I just see the upside in this player. So I'm glad that the rumors were nothing but. We were quick to say when that came out in June, like, you're not going to trade Drake Batherson and get a better player than Drake Batherson for the value of the contract that has 2, not just 1, 2 years remaining on it. This has the opportunity to be a breakout season for him offensively. And it's funny to say that when he's had career highs in points 3 straight years, from 62 to 66 to 68 this past year. But I'm telling you, that first number, if he can stay healthy again, and knock on wood, we hope he does, that's going to start with a 7 or an 8 next season.
So I'm gonna focus my attention in a different area, Ross, because for me, if Drake Batherson's getting in the mid 60s of points, I can be satisfied with that. More for me, I'd like the shots to get back up over 200, and I'd like them to hit 30 goals. But Drake Batherson, I want to see him get back to that two-way ability that we know he can do, especially with the size, because having a career, oh boy, I don't even want to, Ross, if you had to guess, what do you think Drake Batherson's career plus minus is?
Minus 80. How about that? Right on the dot.
Okay, so you obviously cheated, but it is minus 80. Minus 80, guys. Minus 9, 2 years, which isn't crazy. Like, plus minus really is only an important stat if it's egregious. Minus 9 isn't that crazy, but the year before is where things were tough at a minus 35. He
was playing with Alex DeBrincat.
Yeah, he was in the running for the Masters Green Jacket trophy for the NHL there. But we know, Ross, you and I have seen him be able to be a good defensive player. And I need to see him get back to that because he's got the size for it. He's able to use his body in a better way than he should. I'm so haunted by him letting Max Domi walk and score that overtime goal when he had him in the train tracks and he should have blasted him. And that shouldn't have even been a shot. It should have been Max Domi on his backside and a puck turned over and them going the other way with it. But I guess I'll try to make this the last time I talk about that, but I want to see him be a positive plus minus player. I think that's an important goal.
Yeah, the only time he has been in his career was that season that got cut short where he was about to be named an all-star where he had 44 points in 46 games, the closest he's gotten to a point per game in his career. But he was defending with his body for the most of the year, set a career high in hits with 149, and much like Timmy, he got the juices flowing in the playoffs. You wish it would have been 28 hits, but 27 hits in 6 games. Like, he was physical and was hitting, but of course, the one that didn't stands out. It's like when you're doing chores. You can say like, oh, look at all the things I did, but if you didn't do something important, that's the one that you're going to hear about at home.
Ross, I'll clean the entire house, and then one dish I forgot to put away, and all that goodwill, all that work, gone immediately. And you're like, but I did this and this. And then this is the classic line. We're not talking about the things you did. We're talking about the things you didn't do. Oh, come on. Come on. Drake Batherson is a stud for the Ottawa Senators. It seems like he loves Ottawa too. I wouldn't be surprised if, much like the conversation has been centered around Shane Pinto this offseason, I wouldn't be surprised if something gets done early next offseason to keep Drake Batherson as an Ottawa Senator. Am I getting ahead of myself? Yeah, you might be getting ahead of yourself a little, but I love the optimism. I'm with you, Ross.
Dude, 2017 draft pick for the Ottawa Senators. 9 years ago, the Senators selected an overage player in the 4th round, 121st overall, and now Drake Batherson, his highest mark on our organizational value rankings. He began at number 8, jumped up to number 6, then 6, then 8, then back up to 6, and now he's up 1 spot to number 5 on our 2025 OVRs. Coming in at number 4, it is Linus Ullmark, coming in at number 4 for the 2nd consecutive season after being acquired in the 2024 offseason. 32 years old, which many say is the prime of an NHL goaltender. He's 6'4", 215 pounds. And Pillsy, I hate that last meaningless game was so high scoring. The Senators won the game 7-5. And it really screwed up his save percentage towards the end of the year. Because if you don't count that game, his numbers from basically December on were spectacular.
Yeah, I was trying to follow along with where you were going. Read me those numbers without that game then, because I'm confused why you're emphasizing it.
So with that game, in his final 31 games of the season, he had a .918 save percentage. That goes up to .921 if you take out the last game.
Okay. Overall for the season, he played 44 games, a record of 25-14-3, goals against of 272, save percentage of .910, and 4 shutouts. Look, say what you want, but this is the goaltending the Ottawa Senators need. And if they would have had that the year before, they probably make playoffs. Is this amazing? No, but it's better than good, better than average. And I think with the offensive firepower and the way that the decor is much more well-rounded than it has been in the past, honestly, if Linus Ullmark repeats these numbers, I'm fine with that. Now, I know maybe some Sens fans are being like, Pillsy, he makes $8.25 million. We need better numbers than this. And that's a fair point. He's getting paid the big bucks to be the number one guy. He's a former Vezina winner. He's got 4 years on this extension that kicks in this year. I am a little nervous. Sometimes I feel like he can really get down on himself, as we're already seeing. I mean, to have your star goalie be down on themselves in training camp and then allow 3 goals on 8 shots in 1 period of play is not great. Does it mean a lot? Does it mean everything? Does it mean didn't come to camp prepared? Does it mean he's going to have a bad start of the season? No, not at all. I think we all need to calm down a little bit, but I would like to see Linus Ullmark have one preseason game where he shuts the door. I don't care who the opponents are. I don't care what the situation is. I don't care how long he plays, just because I really do think he's a confidence guy, because you look at some of the stretches where when he was confident and feeling it, he was the guy that's worth this money. He was the guy that Ottawa Senators fans and management expected when they brought him in. So I'm still a Linus Ullmark guy. I believe that this year he will be the number one guy. I don't think it's going to be a tandem split between him and Levy, but I don't want them to overwork him for 2 reasons. That back injury last year scared me, because that did occur when he was playing every game and put the team on his back. And also, I don't want Levi Merlainen just sitting, hanging out on the bench for most of the year. If you're going to have him as the NHL backup, he's got to play games, because he's still a young goalie that needs opportunities to continue to develop.
I couldn't agree more. Pillsy, since Craig Anderson joined the Ottawa Senators in the 2011 season, 9 times has a Senators goalie played more than 40 games, started more than 40 games, I should clarify. And Linus Ullmark had the 6th best save percentage of any of those goalies. It's Anton Forsberg during that unreal year, and he started 44 games that year before the double knee injury took him out. And then it was Craig Anderson 1, Craig Anderson 3, Craig Anderson 4, Craig Anderson 5, Craig Anderson 7, Craig Anderson 8, and then Jonas Korpisalo at the very bottom with an 890 save percentage. But what I'm getting at is Ullmark for the next 4 years needs to be on this list. 41 games is half. And again, that's going to go up to 42 after this upcoming season when they add 2 games. But he needs to be the starter. He needs to have a majority workload. And he did that barely this past season. And I would like to see him play 48 games is my expectation.
I was going to say 50.
I would like to see him play 55 in a perfect world. 55.
But that's the max, right?
That would be the exact number.
55 is the max for me. I don't want him playing more than that, because I know his playoff numbers aren't great. And that's arguably Linus Ullmark's biggest downside, is the playoffs, and it has to be noted. And last year it was nice, Ross, because we could say, well, you got to get to the playoffs to worry about his playoff numbers. But now that is no longer the standard. The standard is the standard, and Linus Ullmark knows his standard has not been up to standard. But Ross, in 16 playoff games in the NHL, a 328 goals against and an 885 save percentage and a 5-10 record.
How many shutouts?
1.
Yeah, and that happened in Game 5 in Toronto. Basically, when this season, when he had a above 865 save percentage, they won both their games.
Yeah. For me, expectations, I'd like for him to be below a 275 goals against and above a 910 save percentage. I feel like that's fair.
Yeah, I think that's fair. And looking at the other goalies in the National Hockey League last year, 9 goalies played more than 55 starts last season. So it's a lot. One of them was Philip Gustafsson, interestingly enough. And then 3 goalies played exactly 55, including, interestingly enough, Joey Daccord. But he needs to be in that 45 to 55 range for the Ottawa Senators to feel really good. Look, Levi Merlainen was great, fantastic even, fantastic even.
Yeah.
But 12 games is a small sample size to hang your hat on in the National Hockey League. But it's his job, and he'll do what he can to do it again this season. But I like setting the expectations high. I mean, he's 4th out of 65 players on our organizational value rankings, so he better be good. Otherwise, he's going to make us look bad, and we can't have that, right? Can't.
No, and we've never looked bad, so it would be tough for that to start now.
So Drake Batherson comes in at number 5, Linus Ullmark at number 4 on our 2025 OVRs. And that brings us to the most contentious part of this list. Let's be real here. How are we ordering the 3 franchise talents that the Ottawa Senators have? You can find out tomorrow on Locked On Senators. We're looking forward to bringing you that. And then we will put it out on social media. You can have your say. How do you order the top 3 players in the organization? But the core of this team, in order from most to, I don't want to say the word least, most to 11th most important in the organization. Linus Ullmark, Drake Batherson, Thomas Chabot, Shane Pinto, Claude Giroux, Dylan Cousins, Ridley Gregg, and Fabian Zetterlund. All right, Pilsy, any final thoughts on today's show?
Yes, final thoughts for me is it was teased last season. Brady Tkachuk will be a part of the Amazon Prime Face-Off series inside the NHL. That premieres October 3rd. I'm so excited for this, Ross, because we know they basically started following him around that Calgary game where he lost the teeth and scored the overtime winner. Captain that brought his team back to the playoffs, a new dad. Like, there's just so many interesting storylines that are going to follow with that Brady Tkachuk segment
First
of the
playoffs.
show. Yeah, I mentioned that. Don't you worry.
I know. I just want to emphasize it because that's a part of the show I'm most excited to watch.
Yeah. So I need to fully watch the other ones. I watched a couple episodes, like the Nylander Pasternak one, those storylines.
One I watched too.
Yeah, and they were very good. But now having an Ottawa Senator, especially the captain, in the spotlight like that is awesome. And anything Amazon Prime is doing has been incredible. And shout out to them. They were kind enough to put us in their pregame of one of the Amazon Prime Monday night games. So we're big Amazon fans here.
Big time. And the broadcast is great too. They got
So
great people working it. So yeah, looking forward to that and excited to see. Classic NHL though, and maybe this is more of an Amazon choice. They're dropping it the day that Taylor Swift's album's coming out. So I don't know how much the target audience is going across there, but kind of
put Taylor Swift's album on in the background on low and watch the show. Don't worry about it.
All right. Enjoy the game tonight. 7:00 start. It is on TSN. We'll have a quick hitter video for you afterwards on YouTube and all social medias at Sen Central on Twitter, LockedOn.Senators on Instagram. Please subscribe to the show so you can go know when we go. There we go. I use go in there too. But when new episodes drop, turn that bell on and please hit us with a 5-star review. It does help out with the show as well. For today, we say goodbye. Thanks so much for liking, watching, listening, and engaging with the show. For Brandon Piller, I'm Ross Levitan. This has been another edition of the Locked On Senators podcast, your team every day.